Hello and welcome back to Lagoon. We're going to take on an ice cave. Okay, so there's something here we really, absolutely need. Before we actually move on. By the way, I decided to pre-grind up for level 26. That should be enough for the next two bosses. I'm actually going to be fighting a couple of rather high-risk bosses in this video, so, death's a-comin'. He's pretty much knocking on the door right now. Okay, the elixir, which is actually an herb. This item fully restores your hit points. Much more useful to us than the healing pot. You can actually buy these in Volo, but you can only ever carry one at a time, which is why I never actually plunked down the cash for it. Oh yeah, and speaking of cash, this is the absolute last place in the game where you can grind for the shiny ball if you have your heart set on that. Because after you've finished this dungeon is another point of no return. The trickier part of this dungeon is basically finding the boss door, as with all Lagoon dungeons. Except maybe Siegfried Castle. Let's see, bypass a murder Eskimo. Get stabbed. No problems. Looks like I've gone around in a circle. Well, that's okay. This isn't one of the harsher dungeons in the game. Aside from the boss, of course. Dead ends. Expect to see more of those eventually. Ah, there we go. No special keys required. Just finish off these guys and we'll be set. Well, as soon as I regenerate. Okay! The Ice Cave boss is Thamala. This is the closest thing in the game you'll get to an involved boss fight. So what you have to do is destroy these little squid things in their crystal columns in order to make the big guy vulnerable. However, the little guys do quite a bit of damage when they shoot, so I actually abuse a safe spot that's about 1 or 2 pixels to pick these guys off. That's the plan, anyway. The reason I continued here is because even with all the damage I'd had enough to take on the big guy after I'd smashed the columns, but that wasn't to be. Placement, it will save your life. Let's try that again. You know, doing it right. Making sure that's equipped. Who knows what might happen otherwise. I might lose harder. Okay, that's 2 down. And position yourself just right and you won't get smashed by the ball, even though the ball does not actually do that much damage. Yeah, see? No problems at all. 5. Okay, this turns the mall into a bubble. Both a literal and a figurative one, because the mall has extremely low defense. So you can just tank it and then stab it to death. Okay, what the life ball does when it's equipped is if you die, it automatically revives you to full hit points. I will keep this no matter what because it is vital for the final boss. Okay, there we go. The angel bell to summon the things that aren't angels seriously. That's the truth. Okay, that's the last staff in the game. Haha, now we're getting back to music I like. For a while, the only tracks I could find in this game on YouTube were this one and the track for Lagoon Castle itself, Master of Water. There's no treasure here, so I'm going to be making a beeline straight for the boss, who is the bane of most players' existence. Oh, by the way, if you didn't grab the sword in Siegfried Castle, you're pretty much boned here. Because if you come here at level 26, which you probably will, with the third sword you will do 0 damage to the next boss. There wasn't a boss here in the Sharp version, and it shows. The boss room is very much of an add-on. See that hole in the ground? That leads us to our boss. Okay, save up. Hook the elixir. Alright. Let's get her. Okay, boss number 6 is Ella, and fighting her is a bit problematic. Okay, this is the one where I got it right, and I'll tell you why it was so difficult. Okay, Ella teleports and shoots these fireballs out in 8 directions. She is not limited in where she can teleport, and that includes right on top of you. And her hitbox actually arrives about a split second before she does, which means there's no real way to avoid getting damaged if she decides to try to telefrag you. Now, as you do damage to her, her teleports go more quickly. And that, combined with the fact that she will jump on top of you, means pretty much that if Ella wants to kill you, she will. Eventually, her teleports become so fast that there's no real time to nab her except for certain times when she just stops for a little while. Now, there is an actual pattern to the number of times she teleports before stopping. And I actually did count those out while I was playing, which allowed me to do this. Ella is down, and our reward is a staircase leading to the best cutscene ever. Before that, though, you definitely want to save after beating Ella because, well, this might happen. Yep. There we go. Why don't you let me have absolute power? I'm sure this is different in the Sharp version, because Thor has no compunctions about trying to kill you in that version. Okay, coming up. Best cutscene ever. Here we go. Bomph. Okay, in the Sharp version, Zero is actually killed here, and you actually get to go through his pockets and grab a MacGuffin from his corpse. Godly parentage and all that sort of thing. I prefer the humble origins of the original. Well, we'll do our best. And the last crystal, which means we now have access to all 16 magics, none of which are really all that useful for us anymore. Puff! Okay, I'm going to be doing a lot of saving here because this place has a lot of the more difficult jumps in the game. Oh, by the way, this place caused a lot of people to have to properly set the contrast on their televisions back in the day. There are some contrast settings which made this area nearly impossible to navigate. By the way, for most of the game you've been trained not to fall off cliffs. Well, that's what you have to do. Okay, this slab was not here in the Sharp version, but that's because the Moonstone wasn't actually used here in the original. Okay, so save, and next time we will tackle Lagoon Castle. See ya!